Okay, D. Legge going to wrap up Georgia's 31-3 win over Mississippi State, number 17 Mississippi State. Georgia really probably with their best win over a ranked team since sometime in 2014. You can just pick a team because they beat a lot of ranked teams that year. I thought the game started off exactly the way you wanted if you were Georgia, particularly if you were Jake Fromm. He really played about as well as he could play tonight. I think this is what you saw tonight. If he can do that every single week, I'm not sure how many games Georgia's going to lose. Now, I've said that sort of stuff before. I said that with Grayson Lambert after the 2015 South Carolina game. But this is not, I mean, he's not even the same, clearly not in the same universe as Grayson Lambert. He really played well tonight. And I think what he does well is what you should be asking him to do more often, which are, I don't necessarily think it's quick game necessarily, but it's balls closer to the line of scrimmage, maybe snappier throws. He's not a great deep ball guy, but he did hit on the one ball they needed to hit, which was that opening play. That changed the game. And what you don't want to do if you're playing Georgia is loosen. I mean, you've got to stop the run. And if Fromm or whoever the quarterback is, Eason, Fromm, right now it's Fromm, whoever the quarterback is, they've got to be effective. They've got to be productive. Tonight was the first night this season I really felt like the quarterback position was productive, okay? 200 yards and probably could have had more. Didn't ask him to do more. They're not exactly asking Jake Fromm to win them these games. 9 of 12. One was a drop. One was a throwaway. I mean, he was just deadly efficient tonight. 2 touchdowns. I can't remember the touchdowns necessarily, but it's 201 yards. That long of 59 to Terry at the beginning of the game, if I'm not mistaken. And that changed the game. I mean, I didn't know as soon as Georgia went up 14-0 that they were going to win, but it was just kind of like, how's State going to score? Yeah, I mean, like, you just get down 2, and they just shut Nick Fitzgerald's shit down. I mean, it just 14 of 29, 2 interceptions, 83 yards. In the run game, he was 10 for 47, so not a horrible average, but you know, Mississippi State should have never beaten LSU the way they did. There's just no excuse for that. I'm not saying they should have lost. I'm saying there's no reason they should have won the way they did. This tonight, that's how you treat people when they're not overly skilled on offense. You just bludgeon them to death with your defensive team. And State just got tired at the end of the game. I mean, that Nick Chubb run coming out of the half, that was the game ender for sure. And then I was glad to see Fromm connect with Nada on 51 yards. There were times tonight when on deep balls, those kids were wide open. Were they not wide open on that? I mean, the two balls, but that counts. I mean, like, that was 100 of his yards. That totally counts. And, you know, again, if you can do it that way, it's going to be, I mean, Tennessee is bad. Vanderbilt may be challenging perhaps in Nashville, but with Georgia's physicality, this was a huge test. They didn't just pass it. They passed it, and then they, like, crumbled up the paper and rubbed it in the teacher's face. I mean, it was a beating. And I'm sure the Gators will sort of get their act together, if you want to call it that, at some point here. But right now it's a collision course with the Gators. What else is new? Missouri is horrible, probably one of the worst teams in the conference in the last – I mean, they're bad. So you need to take care of business. Playing in Neyland is not easy. Jake Fromm has never really played in a road game, okay? Notre Dame was not a road game. They had to fly 2 hours to get up there, but half the stadium was Georgia people. And this weekend, it's not going to be like that in Neyland. Neyland is a tough place to play. Georgia should win. I mean, I don't know how much they'll be favored, but there's a lot of, you know, I think I'm going to write about this because I really don't. I'm not one of these guys. I'm not Trey. What's the guy's name? Clay Travis. I don't want to get his name wrong.
Clay Travis.
I don't really want to do that whole thing about ESPN. There's a lot of group think about teams. And, you know, Vegas, this game was at 7, and it got pounded down to 3. And everybody on ESPN that I saw, at least, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think ESPN hates Georgia. In fact, I think they love them because they turn TV sets on. But there's just so much groupthink that, like, people, you know, one game is one game, and this game won't matter next week at all. And what happened this week was everyone was so enthralled with what State did to LSU. And there was, just this, everybody kept saying the same thing over and over again. Nick Fitzgerald this, Nick Fitzgerald that. And I want to be like, he ain't met Roquan Smith yet. And that is the problem. And by the way, Georgia's not running to a national championship, so just relax. But picking Georgia to lose straight up goes against what Las Vegas thought, goes against the rankings, goes against, and just so many people picking it. It was just, I don't know. It's just too much groupthink. And it's just a little bit too much after a while. So I'd cool your jets on that if I were them. And I'd actually watch Georgia play. That's the other thing. If you're going to comment on them or say this, that, and the other, talk about how Jacob Eason, this, that. Jacob Eason he wasn't even cleared to play. And you're talking about how they've already sort of made a decision. It's just so ignorant. It's really bad. And I'm sorry, and I'll write about this. I need to get it off my chest. It's just bad commentary. And on top of that, last thing here, and I know these guys are working they're a Friday night ESPN game, but you're saying this league is the worst league of the Power 5 leagues. I just saw Florida State get beat, and I know that the ACC has a very good team in Clemson and maybe a good team in Virginia Tech. That's it. Georgia Tech lost to Tennessee. South Carolina, a team that needed a field goal, beat, I don't even know who they played, but they were not, Louisiana Tech. They beat NC State. I mean, you're putting the ACC as the best it's just insanity. And I think you owe it to your viewers to be a little more honest, or whatever you want to call it. And I like ESPN. I think they deliver a great product. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't get into the conservative liberal thing. I don't care. They put games on, people watch them. They don't have an agenda against the Dogs. They like it when Georgia plays because Georgia has eyeballs. I'm just saying the people that they pay, they ought to kind of watch Georgia play more, or watch teams. That is your job if you're a commentator, to talk about team. You need to be watching them and have a little bit more intelligent discussion about it. Calling the ACC the best conference, calling the SEC the worst, come on. So that's just bad TV. Georgia will need to play well against Tennessee to win in Knoxville. If they don't play well, they'll lose. Tennessee's not good, but I don't care. It's a challenging place to play. But tonight they got the job done, 31-3, and they'll be off to Knoxville. All these games now are make or break inside the division. All right, Dean Legge signing off from inside Sanford Stadium.